In 1974, a young girl saw a strange man who whispered, "Your birthday is coming." Years later, an agent with strange powers hunted a killer named Longlegs, who controlled fathers to harm their families. As she uncovered more clues, she found disturbing links to her own past. Would she stop him before he took control of her life? The film began in 1974. A little girl saw a car stop outside her house. She wondered who it was and went outside to check, but no one was in the car. Suddenly she heard a voice from behind the house. She went to see, but there was no one there either. Then a strange man appeared behind her and said in a strange way, "Your birthday is coming." The man's face was not clear, but his skin looked very pale, like he had no blood in him. The story moved forward a few years. Some FBI agents were preparing to catch a dangerous criminal. Lee, the main character, was with her partner. They set out to find the criminal. When Lee saw a house, she felt something was wrong. She told her partner that the criminal was definitely inside, but he didn't believe her and knocked on the door. The criminal opened the door, shot the agent, and killed him. Lee managed to hide. After a while, she went into the house, scared. She saw the criminal sitting there. She pointed her gun at him and told him to surrender. The criminal gave up, and Lee handed him over to the FBI. Lee had a physical test, and it was discovered that she had mental powers. She could sense where people were, like the criminal. Lee, her senior agent Carter, and her partner parked outside a house. Carter told them about a family who had lived happily in the house. But one day, the father killed his wife and child, then took his own life. This had happened to many families in recent years. After killing everyone, the father would kill himself. A letter was found in every house with strange codes and the name Longlegs at the end. The writing was the same in all the letters, meaning Longlegs was someone who made the father do this. The FBI had no idea who Longlegs was, as no one had seen him. They wanted Lee to solve the case using her powers. Lee discovered that every family had a 9-year-old girl whose birthday was on the 14th. She gathered evidence and found that when the families died, Longlegs was not there. This meant someone was helping him. One evening, Carter drank too much, so Lee drove him home. On the way, she met Carter's wife and daughter. Carter's daughter invited Lee to her room and said her birthday was coming, so Lee should come. After leaving, Lee called her mom. We learned that Lee's birthday was also coming up. Suddenly, someone began banging on the door of Lee's house. She went to check but found no one there. When she looked out the window, she saw a strange shadow. Lee picked up her gun, opened the door, and went outside, but the shadow was gone. She then felt a presence inside her house. When Lee walked into the house, she saw no one there except for a letter that someone had left. The letter said not to open it until January 14th, her birthday. But Lee couldn't wait, so she opened it. Inside, it said, "Happy birthday," and it also had some strange codes, the same codes found in letters left at other families' homes. This meant that Longlegs had also left this letter. Lee started trying to understand the codes. Just then, Agent Carter called her to a new crime scene. This scene was terrifying too, as Longlegs had killed another family in a horrible way. The family had been dead for a month, and their bodies were badly decayed. Like before, there was a 9-year-old girl in the family who would have had her birthday on January 14th. Carter felt disturbed, knowing this pattern kept repeating. Lee called her mother and told her she'd be busy for a few days and would see her on her birthday. Her mother reminded her to pray daily for protection from evil, but Lee didn't pay much attention and ended the call. Lee returned to her work, marking all the evidence on a calendar. She saw a strange pattern that looked like an upside-down triangle, which was a symbol of evil that seemed incomplete. One date was missing, the 13th of the next month. This meant Longlegs might strike again on that day. Lee told Carter, also mentioning that Longlegs had enjoyed killing the Camera family years ago. In the Camera family tragedy, the father had killed his family, and even a priest who was with them, but their daughter, Carrie, survived because she was at school. Now Carrie was in a mental hospital. Hearing this, Lee and Carter visited the Camera family's old farmhouse. After searching, they found a coffin with a doll inside that looked like Carrie. They checked the doll and saw a metal ball on its head. When Lee touched it, she felt strange vibrations and saw an image of a snake, making her think this doll had some link to evil powers. In a flashback, Longlegs was shown making the doll, proving he created it. We finally saw Longlegs' face pale white, just like in the beginning. He then visited a store, acting strange with the girl at the counter and asking her birthday. He later left angrily, maybe because her birthday wasn't on the 14th. Meanwhile, Lee and Carter visited Carrie at the mental hospital, where she hadn't spoken in 20 years. But yesterday, she suddenly got better after someone mysterious visited her. Strangely, this visitor wrote Lee as their name in the register, but Lee hadn't been there. They realized it was Longlegs, using Lee's name to hide his identity. Lee questioned Carrie, who hinted that she'd do anything for the visitor, even harm Lee if asked. Carrie also mentioned someone called Mr. Downstairs, but didn't explain who he was. Lee asked about the doll, and Carrie said she had forgotten about it, just like Lee had. Later, Lee met with Carter, and said she believed the dolls were linked to the murders, as each family had one for their daughter. Carter, who didn't believe in these things, questioned why Longlegs knew Lee's name, and if they were somehow connected. Lee stayed silent. Carter told her he had looked into her past, and found that her mother once reported a tall, pale man right before Lee's 9th birthday. When he asked Lee about it, she claimed not to know. Carter told Lee to visit her mother. When she got there, she noticed her mother was acting strangely. Her mother asked if she still prayed, and Lee said she didn't because prayers scared her. Her mother laughed and agreed, saying prayers were useless, even though she used to believe in them. In the kitchen, Lee saw a worm crawling out of the basement. Suddenly, she had a flashback of snakes, and then found herself with her mother in the present. It was revealed that the little girl at the start of the movie was Lee. Lee asked her mother about her 9th birthday, and the white man who visited then was Longlegs. Though Lee didn't know it at the time, her mother acted like she knew everything, but avoided the question and wouldn't answer. Lee's mom told her that all her birthday things were still in her room. So, Lee went to her room and found a box with her old photos. Inside, she also saw pictures of a man named Longlegs. She got scared when she realized he was in a picture from her childhood. Then, it showed a memory from Lee's childhood when Longlegs met her. Her mom came and asked him who he was and why he was talking to her daughter. Longlegs said, "Let me come inside now, or I will keep coming back and knocking." After finding the picture, Lee went to Carter, and with it as proof, the police finally caught Longlegs. When they asked his name, he said he wanted to see Lee, then started singing happy birthday to her. A female agent told them that they found strange notebooks in Longlegs' things, with writings about worshiping the devil, which was allowed by law. But there was no proof that he had done the murders. Carter told Lee there was nothing to worry about since Longlegs was caught. But Lee was worried, saying Longlegs' partner was still free, and they didn't know who he was. She noticed that today was the 13th, which could mean Longlegs' partner would hurt someone. Lee decided to talk to Longlegs, and remembered when he told her as a child that he was a friend of Mr. Downstairs. Carter also asked Longlegs about his partner and Mr. Downstairs, but Longlegs only said, "Ask your mother. She has the answers." He gave some strange clues, and Lee was shocked, wondering why her mother was connected to this. Suddenly, Longlegs shouted, "Hail Satan!" and hit his head on the table. His nose and jaw broke, and he bled, then died. Carter soon told her that Carrie also died by jumping from the hospital. Lee and the female agent went to Lee's mother to ask about Longlegs. Lee went alone to her mother's house but found it empty. Meanwhile, her mother was sitting in a car behind the female agent, who then saw Longlegs' car nearby. Lee's mom shot and killed the agent. Lee heard the gunshot, looked out the window, and was very scared. When Lee went outside, she saw her mother pointing a gun at a doll. Her mom said she had been controlled by Longlegs, but was now free, and so was Lee. She shot the doll's head, and black smoke came out. The same black smoke came out of Lee's head, making her faint. Then a memory showed that Longlegs was a doll maker who served the devil, who he called Mr. Downstairs. He had given Lee a doll as a child, making her forget things from her past. The devil wanted Lee's life, but her mom made a deal, promising to help Longlegs if he left Lee alone. This meant Lee's mom was helping Longlegs all along. Longlegs made dolls that looked exactly like different girls. Dressed as a nun, Lee's mom visited families, saying their daughter won a doll from the church. No one doubted her because of the church. Each doll had an evil spirit that controlled the father, making him kill his family and then himself. Lee's mom left letters at these homes, allowing Longlegs to sacrifice families to the devil without even being there. The memory ended, and Lee woke up in the basement of her own house, where Longlegs made the dolls. Suddenly, she got a call with a spooky voice, saying she was late for Carter's daughter's birthday party. She realized today was the girl's birthday, meaning Carter's family was the next target. Lee quickly drove to Carter's house. But when she got there, she saw her mom and a doll that looked like Carter's daughter. Carter and his wife were acting strangely as the doll's curse worked on them. In the kitchen, Carter attacked and killed his wife, then tried to hurt his daughter. Lee shot Carter, stopping him. Seeing this, Lee's mom took out a knife and moved toward Carter's daughter, now fully under the devil's spell. Lee shot her mom, killing her. Lee wanted to destroy the doll, but her gun was empty. She told the child to leave, and the child started to go. But Lee stood there staring at the doll, as if the doll was controlling her now. Then Longlegs appeared alive and laughing, saying, "Hail Satan." He laughed, showing it wasn't over. The deaths of families would continue, as Longlegs was still alive. And Lee's look hinted she was now under his control. It seemed like Lee would help Longlegs now that her mom was gone. Her birthday was on the 14th, and though the devil wanted her life, her mom's deal saved her. But now, it seemed like the devil wanted her to work for him. And the movie ended there.